Hello there everybody, and welcome back to episode 4 of my tutorial series for Dwarf Fortress. Today I will cover the topics of farming and irrigation. These two topics are very closely related to each other, and it's all going to be about the food and drink production in today's episode. There's timestamps down below leading to all the different parts of it, and therefore let's get started with the farming part first. So we have already configured the planter to be the only person busy with that job. I want to explain here why that is such an important thing. Here in the standing orders menu, I've ordered that only farmers should harvest, and we have all these things set up like that. It's simple. The skill value of your planter determines how much yield you have the moment he puts the seed into the ground. And whenever you're farming something, you gain farming XP. Therefore, with this combination, you allocate the most farming XP onto one dwarf, and that is quite powerful. In a fully fledged out fortress, you will have 1 or 2 planters. Seriously, one planter can keep an entire fortress of 200 people alive. No biggie. That all being said, let's talk about the farming itself. So you will find farm plots in the workshops menu at the farming section right there. So farming plots can be built either outside in this brownish soil. They can be also built in sand. I don't have any sand spots here currently, but they work as well. But they cannot be built on the cavernous floor. So let's quickly build one of these so we can introduce one of these thingies here right away. So one farm plot can always be only used by one type of seed. Your planters will be in charge of building these places and taking good care of them. So here you can see what you can plant. I want to go quickly over the Dwarven Crops here. Dimple cups are only for dye production, so you will be most likely using them the least. Plump helmets produce food and drink, very important crop. Quarry bushes, food and oil, mostly used for the food production though. Sweet pots, alcohol and syrup, mostly used for the booze, but you can also use it for the sugar production. Cave wheat, flour, mostly for that. And pigtails are your fabric crop, which you will use for cloth, and you can also make booze out of it. As you see here, different seasons allow you the planting of different things, and we're going to go over these real quick later down the road. I want to go over the fertilization process now, which we will be ignoring, because currently, in the current version, it just doesn't pay off to do all the hustle around that topic to get fertilizer on the soil, because it's really hard to produce, well, ish, but it's much easier to just set up another farm plot, and you don't need too many farm plots to keep a big fortress alive. Soil quality. As you see here, we get a warning about poor soil quality. Cavern soil is supposedly the best. What does that mean? This means that this patch here has, I don't know anymore, it's either 25 or 33% of the yield of cavern soil. So either way, you lose a lot of your yield by just being in the wrong soil type. You can also harvest plants outside with this button here. You can send this way your planter outside to forage plants. Since we have set up in the last episode our kitchen and our still to manufacture stuff out of practically anything, all the things you will be gathering outside here will be carried to the kitchen and then be transported to the production place. Now, you know the basics about farming. The thing here is, for cavern soil, we need to do a little bit of a trick. This is something you can do to farm here, but I'd strongly recommend you not to, because irrigating isn't that hard. So irrigation means putting water on cavern floor. If you've successfully put water on the cavern floor, it looks a little bit like this. There, we have a dusting of mud. Technically, we could build farm plots on these, and these farm plots are powerful. Over here, I have already set up the irrigation chambers, which we will be using for the farms for this fortress. So, I don't have that much more to say about farming. Let's move over to the irrigation process. So, First off, here again the basics. Irrigation means that we're pouring water on the ground, enough of it to create this dusting of mud or more. This is the entire goal of that. And in Dwarf Fortress, funny enough, it works like that. You just pour the water once on the ground, after that it's muddy, and you're done with it. You don't need to do more than that. So here I dug out 2 chambers, because you can irrigate with many methods. I want to introduce 2 of the most effective ones that I know. One, you can aquifer irrigate, so to say. We're going to use the water out of the aquifer. And 2, you can use the river or any other source of flowing water to irrigate as well. We're going to introduce both methods in this video. First up, let's talk about the necessary things that we will definitely need. So at our base camp, we have our mechanics workshop and our stone worker. We're going to press O for the work orders, and I'm ordering now rock mechanisms. These will be absolutely necessary for the task up ahead. I'm going to order that we have always a lot of these, because mechanisms can be used for many other things. And the other thing is a rock hatch cover. We're going to use quite a lot of these for the construction here as well, so we're going to order a lot of these as well. These are being produced while we're working. Now, to the concept. Down here, you see these chambers. Every one of these will be sealed off with a door. So we're going to place a door in here and a door in here. Each of them is 7 on 7 grids large, with a pillar intact in the center. This is pretty important because you make your life a lot easier this way. So let's start with the aquifer irrigation. The first thing you want to do is you want to be as close as possible to the aquiferous layer. Here we are 2 layers below. As you see, here begins the aquiferous area again, so we need to dig upstairs a little bit. That pillar will allow us to. So you go to the stairwell digging menu and you just dig upstairs here. And that's that. Your mining dwarf will then pick up that job. Eventually, that is. And then they'll be just digging upstairs. This can only be done if there is stone here on this level and stone above on the same level. Otherwise, you can't pull that trick. But it's a really nice one, getting you upstairs like that. So, next step, we dig out a square 3 on 3. But as you see here, there's no water here. But we're going to prepare now next. Next step, we go into the Machines and Fluids tab and set up levers. We're going to need the mechanisms first, alright. They're not being made, they're not made yet. Alright, so that little chamber here will have the water for us. The next thing we do is we dig upstairs, like there. So the ratio here is what is important. This room has enough space to pick up the water of this chamber. So here, when we're digging upstairs, we've now hit the aquiferous area. So the first thing that we do, we put up hatches here. And technically also here, but we need to wait until that's been made. So then the levers, yeah, wonderful, the mechanisms are done. So I'm putting up 2 levers. Each lever will control one of the hatches. Levers can be connected with pretty much everything, with doors, with hatches, with bridges, many things. They always control the behavior of these things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to link that lever, as soon as we have mechanisms available, to these hatches. Let me fast forward this for a hot second. Alright, so just went for a minute to go for the parts that we were missing. So we're now going to link the lever to this hatch here. And we're going to dig out more up here, as much as we want to, because the water will now flow from up here to down here. This will be more clear once the things have been linked. And now my miner is digging out these, and here's the burden when you're dealing with aquiferous rock. Your mining designators get cancelled again and again, so you need to redo that several times. Okay, so somebody's linking that. We're now going to build a hatch here as well, because that's going to be needed later too. All right, and now my miner cannot leave anymore because the lever has been successfully connected with a hatch. What we're doing now is we're going to pull that, of course, and we're going to link the next one, that one, once it's constructed. So if you want to make it really emergent that something gets pulled, you just put the emergency mark here. All right. So now that's that. And the principle here is really simple. We're going to connect that hatch now to the lever as well. And let's link that. And once that chamber here is filled with water, this one that is, we're going to shut off this this hatch, so no new water can enter this room, and then we're just going to sprinkle it all over the board. But since that does take a while, we're going to continue with the other type of irrigation in a hot minute. The only thing that we're going to go for here next are these jobs. So I'm now closing this one and opening that one so that the water from up here can safely fill this place here. Once it's full, we're shutting off that one and we're going to proceed. Now, technically, that's all you need to know. We're using the drip from above, fill that chamber, and then we're going to flood this place. The last thing to do, when all things are in order, you use that icon to destroy the staircase. We don't need that anymore because the machinery will work without us. Now, off to the other form of irrigating, the river-based one. Here we're going to work first with the same method as before. We're preparing the room for us here like that. Here again, 10 grids will fill a 7-on-7 room with 49 grids just nicely. We're building again the same constructions, levers and hatches. But now we're going all the way upstairs to the surface. So here we have the river. To do a easy connection, we go now downstairs here, and I measure from this point on. I go with the downstairs icon, that, and we move now all the way upstairs until we are here. I scroll back down. So this is now where I want to pour the water in. That's that. Okay, so we're going to do the next few things. So first off, we're digging a shaft down here and connect it like that. Boom, just like this. So this is our entry point for the maintenance personnel. If you'd wanted to, you could also put a door in here to make sure it's not gonna get flooded. And the next thing we require now is a bridge, which will act as a floodgate. The thing is, you could, of course, go for a proper floodgate. They are also available like this, but they are technically not as good as a bridge. I'm gonna explain that later, but you can use a floodgate. You need to craft these at the stoneworkers workshop, and they basically behave the same as what we're doing here. So a lever goes here, one lever there, and another lever as well, because we're going to require 2 of them. So now to the downstairs pod. We again have here the designator that it cannot be done because of Aquifer. So we have to do this now again and again. So you know that. You know that old drill. Whenever there's damp stone involved, they need their mining designators renewed time and time again. Pay attention to not digging too deep. You don't want to end up in the chamber below. Or, well, actually it doesn't matter if you do so. No, doesn't matter. It's actually not bad if you do so. So now you see we got a downstairs here, and this is leading here. The only thing left that we need to do now is we need to put a hatch on top of this here as well. And then we need to link the levers. One lever goes to the bridge, so we can raise it. If a lever is linked to a bridge, you can use it to raise the bridge. And with the hatches, we can either force it open or hold it closed, as you might have already noticed. Without these, the hatch's standard position is closed, and this is not suitable for water systems in general, so we got all that in place in a second. So first thing we do, as soon as that one is linked, we're going to raise the drawbridge, and we're going to pull that one to make sure this one is held open. There we go. So let's wait for that one. Somebody needs to hold the trigger still, and we can now... Oh, we have mechanisms on that bridge, so nobody needs to go downstairs there anymore. Now it's done. So now you can forbid the door, so nobody accidentally is going to hurt himself when we're going to do the next step of the task here. So I'm raising now the bridge, so it's blocking the water here. We're now going to go on over here and go upstairs one tile. We're going to use that one. So here we're going to go on that border tile and dig a channel. The channel digging will destroy the tile here and the tile below. This is special about it, and as you see here, boom, water excess done. So next step, we pull again the lever which is linked to the bridge. You can always check what is linked with what, like that, or you can rename the lever like you want to. And now we're leading in water into the system. It'll gush downstairs into this room, where we haven't prepared the hatch yet. Oh no. So this is not how it should look like. So emergency in such situations, we're going to pull that one. So this is actually a quite good example of what can happen and how to help yourself in situations like these. So I've shut off the water immediately when that happened. We're going to pull that lever now. And as you see here, the problem that is now is we cannot access that one anymore. So we need to link that one. Here I did a whoopsie. If that would have happened to you and you would have had the problem to not be able to reach that chamber anymore, you would have also had the option to just dig upstairs here and connect back to that room, or just work a little bit more diligently like I did here, maybe. Jokes aside, everything is fixable, but with water, preparations are insanely important, as you see here. So we fixed that, lucky us, and now we can open the floodgates again. But I do actually enjoy that this happened, so you can see water accidents are happening no matter how well you know your stuff. It's just sometimes that you forget something. There's a lot of little things to know about, so don't worry. Just restart if something goes wrong. So here we have that chamber filled now. The last steps to do is we need to to raise the bridge and shut down that hatch here again. So no new water is going to enter the system. So here we are already overstraining the system a little bit because, you know, we have extra tiles, but whatever. So here, both chambers are filled. The only thing left to do is we need to close that room. And it's time to release the water after that. So, you see, this one is closed, making sure that we're only pouring this chamber's contents in there. Last thing to do, we want to forbid the doors so they don't accidentally get opened, which would result in flooding this area here. It's not a big problem, but it would be a waste of water. And now we pull it right again, and as you see here, the emptied room there is exactly holding enough water to fill this room with 1s and 2s. If you don't see these numbers, by the way, the hotkey is either F or this little thing. So water that's showing 1s and 2s is evaporating eventually. So that means what will remain is nice muddied floor that we will be able to use for our farms. Here we're going to do the same thing, but due to the fact that there's this water here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 tiles with extra water, what will happen is that this room might be a little bit overburdened by the water that we're going to introduce into the system. So that's why we took all the shenanigans here with that hatch, because we don't want to overfill that room. Here, as long as it's still showing 1s and 2s, everything is fine. If you would have had a problem with the room being too full, what you could have done, for example, is a very simple thing. You dig out an extra notch here, make sure you put a door in there, and as soon as the door is in there, you can just knock over one of these walls so that the water has more room to spread apart into. That's all. Because if there's too much water in the room, just make the room larger. Problem solved. Now, last bit, we're going to put down the farm plots, and as you see here, this setup allows you to get yourself 4 farm plots per irrigation room. This system, you can replicate it several times, as often as you want it to, and it's a really simple and easy solution to get anything done. The only thing that's left to say here is, if you don't know what to plant plump helmets. They're never wrong. They yield food and alcohol, which are really important resources. And besides that, you can always use some pigtail and other things there as well, but all in all, I've explained what the crops are good for. The rest is up to you, and I hope you found this episode helpful. There are, of course, a couple of other methods of irrigation as well. The bucket brigade comes to mind, and a couple of other things, but these 2 methods are, to my own knowledge, the most effective ones. So let me know what you know. If you know anything else, I'd be really interested. The comment section is open for you. Leave me a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and of course, I'd be really happy if you'd be checking out the other links down below to the rest of my playlists. There's lots of Dwarf Fortress info material down there, and a big thanks to the supporters of the channel. I deeply appreciate your help, and if you want to check it out as well, there's links to Patreon, PayPal, and Buy Me a Coffee down below, leading to the best methods of getting the support there. So, have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching this video, and we're going to go over the farming in the future episodes a little bit more, when we're going to work with quarry bushes and other things, but more about that in the next upcoming episodes. Thanks for watching. See you there.